Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Devils You Know Season 2, Episode 2. We have a special Taylor Hall of Shame segment for you on this episode. As I've said in the past, Season 2 is, of course, now gone into the preseason games, the training camp, what's going on with certain players that aren't at training camp or in these preseason games. What are we going to do about these kinds of things? That's what we're going to talk about today. We have a special Taylor Hall of Shame segment. So, to start things off, why not do it old school and go with this? Which two Devils players appeared in the 2003 Stanley Cup against the Ducks and in the 2012 Cup Finals against the Kings? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course, Patrick Elias and Martin Brodeur. Alright. I mean, this is kind of easy, but it might not be. Some people might get slipped and tricked by this one. But who, on January 17th, 2013, replaced Zach Parise as captain of the Devils? Was it Andy Green? Was it Jamie Langenbrunner? Was it Bryce Salvador? Was it Nico Hischier? Was it the real captain, Travis Zajac? Should have been captain, in my opinion. No? Yes, it was Bryce Salvador. Now, what I want to talk about is Ethan Edwards. I have him up on the screen. If you're not listening, I have a picture of Ethan Edwards up on the screen as my background for this episode, and there's a reason for that. Because we have a guy who's giving us an issue, and it's really hard to do this, but let's get into it. All right, today's inductee to the Taylor Hall of Shame is Luke Hughes. Yes, of course, you know him as Puke Hughes, but we'll call him Luke Hughes out of respect. At this point, we need to trade this man. Trade him. The Devils can bring in a guy like Mason McTavish. We can bring in other assets. We have Ethan Edwards, who has come out of nowhere and shone or shined, whatever you call it, a light on himself last night against the Islanders, where he scored. He had many, many great plays. He was amazing. This morning, Sheldon Keefe even came out and said, hey, Luke Hughes isn't here. Ethan gets his spot, and you know what? He's shining a light on it, too. Again, like I said in episode 1 of season 2, if you're not at training camp, if you're not playing preseason games and getting into form with your team. Now remember, Puke Hughes has not gone to a Sheldon Keefe training camp yet. He still has not gone to training camp with his coach that he's been now into his second season with. No training camp under his coach. That's horrible. In my opinion, if he is not moved, which at this point, many of you Devils fans have started to migrate towards my opinion, which I said earlier is the guy they had all summer, and it's not Fitz's fault. We're not gonna. I mean, I am not a fan of Fitz. He was my last Taylor Hall of Shame inductee, and maybe we'll watch that and listen to that at the end of this. Who knows? But Fitz has been trying. Luke either wants out, and Fitz, through the ownership, does not want that to happen and won't let that happen, or he wants too much money, or he's asking for too much money so they can trade him. And, of course, if they traded him to a team like Utah, and if you check out Devil's Joint on YouTube, you can watch the video I made. Actually, I think it might have it might have came out of this, talking about how Luke Hughes should go to, we should make a move with Utah. I did talk about it in episode 1, yes. So we make a trade with you bring in McTavish. The Devils could use a guy like McTavish. Now you got Ethan Edwards, you got Seamus Casey, you got Simon Nemec, you got all these guys, Luke Hughes, and the circus of the Hughes brothers is just unnecessary. We don't want it and we don't need it. All right, maybe some of you want it. You like the idea of having the brotherly love kind of. That's for Philadelphia, my friends. In New Jersey, it's always been, and God bless Lou Lamoriello for making it about this for so long. It's always about that crest on the front of that sweater, not about the number or name on the back, especially the name, because the name Hughes seems to be getting special treatment, and if you deny it, you're lying to yourself. You know it's a fact. Everybody knows it's a fact. And if this guy comes in and signs a deal the day before Game 1, and then he's on the ice for Game 1, I am going to flip. That is bullshit. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're on my favorite team. If you don't come to training camp, if you're going to play, you and your agent are going to play games through training camp, through preseason games, then sign. You don't deserve to hop on the ice Game 1. I say at the least you get a 6-game suspension. The first 6 games you're out. I say I'm thinking 8. That's almost a tenth of the games for out of 82 game season. 8 games. But I say 10-game suspension for doing this shit. I don't care if he's on our team and he's helpful. You know what? I guarantee in those 10 games, you're going to have a guy like Ethan Edwards come up and show you why we should have got rid of him in the first place. And now the Devils won 6-2 last night against the Islanders. 6-2. Okay? And who's the one guy that we didn't see on the scoreboard that you would think you would have? We had a great play from Bratt to Nico, right? We have Ethan Edwards on there. But who did you not see? And if you watch the game, especially if you watched it on televised, which you could notice even more when it's televised, and if you need me to explain that, comment below about why it's easier to tell when it's televised. But Jack Hughes was almost invisible all game last game. You hardly heard his name. He didn't play that. You know what? I don't even know what the minutes were, but it's relevant. When he was on the ice, he was not doing anything. And this is a point where he needs to show that he is going to contribute. Bratt's out there making the plays. Nico's out there doing his thing. Everyone who played last night was excellent in the game. Obviously, they played against the Islanders, like C team. That's not the point. All of these guys are coming in rusty. Most of the team that played yesterday came in rusty, except for Gritsuk. And you know what? Or as Donnie calls him, Grizzlick. He came in the first game, scored a goal, had an assist on Cotter's goal. Great. Then he came into another game, played with a totally different setup, totally different line mates. You got to understand a quick turnover like that is hard for a guy who's playing his second game in the NHL. Different ice, a totally different situation. So we were lucky to see a lot of Gritsuk in the first game. A lot of what he can do. His goal was great. His pass to Cotter was slick, but now, I didn't really go over that. I didn't do an episode because episode 2 is after the first 2 preseason games. One was a loss where Dawes took most of the beating, and one was a huge win against the Islanders. And then they play the Islanders on Friday night, where I'm sure the Islanders are going to have their whole team in, and the Devils will probably have, I'm sure Gritsuk will play again. I'm sure Ethan Edwards will be in again. I don't know what goalies we'll see. Malik, who knows? But all I'm saying is this guy, Ethan Edwards, seems legit at this point. I'd like to obviously see some more games, but he was from the beginning. If you look on my X account at Devil's Joint X, in the first few minutes, I had already posted a clip of him because he made a great. He was noticeable. He made a couple defensive plays, went behind the net, got the puck down the zone, and then appeared out of nowhere for a slap shot. Came over the blue line, boom, boom, pass. The shot was blocked, but that's not the point. So, all right, let's end this ripping on Luke Hughes. Let's just trade the guy, right? Alright, so enough ripping on Luke Hughes. Puke Hughes, he's gotta go, though. What do you guys think? This has been a short episode. Mason McTavish, bring him in. Luke Hughes, get him out. Save the Devils. Trade a Hughes. Believe me, if you take one of the two, and I suggest leaving Jack because we already got him under contract for a good price. Don't sign Luke. Trade him out. Bring in a guy that we need for the bottom six. Bring in another forward because we got plenty of defensemen. We got Saleyev coming up. You got this Edwards guy who's amazing right now. We loving him. Obviously Seamus Casey who needs no introduction. You got Nemec who's played pretty well. I mean, he wasn't. Whatever, he played pretty well. He's not gonna go anywhere. Hopefully, they're gonna have to get rid of some of these guys. They have so many good defensemen coming up that play the same side also that we're not gonna be able to do. We can't have Luke Hughes, Edwards, Casey, and then you go back. You got Kovacevic, you got Brett Pesce. Think of all the defensemen. It adds up to like 12. So, Dylan, obviously, you know who the defensemen are. So, the best move is to get rid of the locker room burden of the Hughes brothers. The burden of the players, kind of getting fed up with meetings being missed and fed up with the owners really taking on a pro Hughes stance instead of a pro Devils stance. Like, that's almost legitimately what they're doing. Like, the ownership is basically saying we make money off of these two guys and we're gonna use it and abuse it, and that's it. And no matter what they pay Luke Hughes, if they pay him, they're gonna make more money off of him, off of jerseys. And people already have Luke Hughes jerseys. I have a Luke Hughes jersey. And I also have a rare signed reverse retro Luke Hughes hat. He'd never wore any of those reverse retros, but I do have a hat signed by him. I had two. I gave one away to one of you wonderful followers, or one of my wonderful followers on X. On X. Anyway, that's the end of the Devils I hope to see you, and hope you hear me. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I got so much on my mind. But, yeah, that's it. This is the end of episode 2, season 2. This has been the Taylor Hall of Shame episode for Puke Hughes, Luke Hughes, and he has got 2 minutes. He's going to the penalty box. Let's end it. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you in episode 3 of The Devils You Know.